But do you have vivid dreams or sometimes laugh so hard your knees give way? It could mean that you have narcolepsy, the chronic neurologic condition where the brain is not able to control sleep-wake cycles normally. If you do, you're not alone. It's estimated that 1 in 2,000 people in the U.S. experience this condition, but more than half of them don't know that they have it. Now, one woman who was finally diagnosed with narcolepsy is on a mission to educate others about it. UNC professor Julea Steiner has teamed up with Jazz Pharmaceuticals to share her story, and she's here with me now. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, first, Julie, tell us a little bit about narcolepsy. What exactly is it?
Narcolepsy is a chronic and sometimes debilitating neurological disorder where the brain's ability to control the sleep-wake cycle is impaired. So you have aspects of sleep and wakefulness that are occurring at inappropriate times throughout the day and night.
And how common is the condition?
About 1 in 2,000 people in the United States has narcolepsy, so about 200,000 people in the US and an estimated 3 million people worldwide. There are a lot of stereotypes that make it hard to recognize the symptoms of narcolepsy, so it's underdiagnosed, and actually probably about half of people, maybe more, who are currently living with narcolepsy don't know that they have it.
That's interesting. Now, you talked a little bit about the symptoms, how they can be hard to detect. Can you tell us about some of your symptoms that you experienced before your diagnosis and about your journey to your diagnosis?
Sure. So my first symptoms of narcolepsy developed when I was 9 years old, and they progressed over a number of years. It took me 26 years to get an accurate diagnosis, but the first symptom that I developed was just sleepiness. I stopped waking up in the morning. My mom had to get me dressed for school, and I had previously been a really energetic little kid, really liked getting up and going to school in the morning. But suddenly I just had this sort of overwhelming sleepiness. It was hard to go for more than a couple of hours without needing a nap, just very low energy. So that was the first symptom that I experienced. And then over the years, I developed other symptoms. Another symptom of narcolepsy is cataplexy. So this is a weakening of the muscles. It often occurs with strong emotions like laughter or anger or surprise. For me, I had a very mild case of cataplexy. So if you saw me experiencing cataplexy, you might not even notice it, or you might just think I was really clumsy. I would just drop things a lot. My knees maybe, buckle quickly, but I wouldn't fall down. Some people with narcolepsy, and not everyone with narcolepsy has cataplexy, but some people have much more severe cataplexy, so they can experience a partial or a total body collapse. And what's happening here is that their muscles are paralyzed, but they're fully conscious. They're aware of what's going on around them. So it's a bit like being trapped inside your body and being unable to move. And then just a couple of other symptoms that developed for me over time were hypnagogic hallucinations, which are these vivid and sometimes terrifying, very lifelike dreams. They often occur alongside another symptom, which is sleep paralysis. And that's as you're falling asleep or waking up, you're awake, but you can't move, you can't speak. Sometimes you have a sense of not being able to breathe. And if you're experiencing this alongside one of these vivid dreams or hallucinations where you're being chased or attacked, it can be a really frightening experience. And then finally, a symptom which I think people don't often think of when they think of narcolepsy is disrupted nighttime sleep. So for me, I could fall asleep really easily, but then I was awake 4 or 5 times throughout the night, and then just very sleepy all day long. So it is a 24-hour disorder of the sleep-wake cycle. I think a lot of people think people with narcolepsy can sleep anytime, anywhere, and that it's, really sort of an enjoyable thing to do, but it's actually a really difficult and complex disorder.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. Now tell us, how has your life changed since your diagnosis?
It's changed pretty dramatically. Living for 26 years with these mysterious symptoms was really difficult, especially when the main symptom is sleepiness. And I think we live in a society where there's a real stigma attached to being sleepy, and so I felt a lot of guilt and shame around that, and around needing so much sleep. So just finding out that I had a real medical condition helped me let go of some of that and just be a little kinder to myself. It's my memory, my concentration, my productivity have improved. Personal relationships, when you're sleepy all the time, it's very hard to kind of be pleasant and maintain good relationships. So yeah, my life has just improved greatly all around.
That's good to hear. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Now, what would you like people out there to know who are experiencing some of the same symptoms that you just mentioned?
Yeah, I would say if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, even just one or two, because you don't have to have all five to have a diagnosis of narcolepsy, I would say educate yourself about narcolepsy. You can go to a website called morethantired.com. It's sponsored by Jazz Pharmaceuticals. They have a symptom screener, so you can kind of walk through and see how those symptoms relate to you. And then if you do feel like you might be having these symptoms, there is a directory of sleep specialists, so you can find a sleep specialist in your area. So yeah, my message is just be persistent, don't give up on yourself. If you think you're experiencing these symptoms, don't suffer any longer than you have to.
Absolutely. And again, for more information on narcolepsy and to find specialists in your area, visit www.morethantired.com. Thank you so much again for joining me today, Julie. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.